Well, in Kyiv today, members of an independent UN commission on Ukraine released the results of their inquiry into human rights violations. They say their information gathering does support claims that aggressions that could reach the status of war crimes have been committed.
Subject to further confirmation, the information received and the visited sites of destruction may support claims that serious violations of international human rights law and international humanitarian law, perhaps reaching war crimes and crimes against humanity, have been committed in the areas.
Well, for the latest on that, let's bring in France 24 senior reporter Catherine Norris-Trents in Kyiv. Catherine, what else did the commission have to say today?
Hello there, Jeannie. The UN Commission of Inquiry wanted to stress that this was a preliminary update after their first 10-day visit on the ground in Ukraine, that they will be coming back before reporting to the UN General Assembly in the autumn and then publishing their final findings only next March. But they said that they had visited several sites which seemed to support claims that war crimes and crimes against humanity could have been committed. They put in lots of conditional words there, saying that they weren't going to give final findings at this stage. And there was a certain amount of frustration, certainly among Ukrainian journalists present today at that press conference in Kyiv, asking why the UN Commission of Inquiry wasn't doing more to condemn Russia. One woman, a female journalist, asked why it was being treated, it seemed to her, rather like a violation or a parking fine. Now, the inquiry members, the commission members present today, hit back at that gently, saying that this was about accumulating evidence, that they were indeed taking all the witness accounts, all their visits to destroyed areas very seriously indeed, but this was about accumulating impeccable, legally strong proof in order to eliminate all possible doubt and eliminate claims from Russia that these events, these killings, these bombings were fake news. So they pushed back but said they will be back and they will be looking to engage further on the ground in Ukraine and also with the Russian Federation, whom they haven't had direct contact with yet.
Now, Catherine, as you said, there were a lot of conditional words in that presser earlier. You yourself have been in and out of Ukraine since the invasion began in February. What have you seen in your reporting?
Well, certainly reporting from on the ground in the city of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city in northeast Ukraine, in March, when there was still very heavy bombing there, we saw what seemed to be indiscriminate shelling, regular shelling on residential areas. So people being hit, people living in tower blocks, in residential areas, day after day, night after night, coming under heavy shelling, and civilian casualties there too, and lots of civilian deaths. This is something the Commission of Inquiry stressed themselves, that they saw these shellings of residential areas, that they'd seen schools, homes and other civilian buildings bombed out. They also said that talking to people in areas like Bucha and here around the Kyiv region, that they had heard some very harrowing witness testimony. And of course, you know, there are more mass graves being unearthed all the time. Just a few days ago, 7 more bodies were discovered in the woods near Bucha. All men, the police chief said, with their hands tied, some of them with gunshot wounds apparent to the legs and heads pointing to signs of torture. So these are things that the UN Commission of Inquiry will be taking back, will be documenting, as well as other international organizations such as the International Criminal Court.
Catherine, thank you for your reporting. Catherine Norris-Trents there in Kyiv.